Shalom. It's falling Yeshua. Welcome again to The Rock. Fallen Yeshua, where you been? We haven't seen many videos. Well, there haven't been many videos. I've been getting a lot done, making a lot of moves for myself, my family, and just moving. Getting shit done. An acronym, I kind of created GSD, just getting shit done. The topic of this video is, there's been a lot of people that's spoken on, shit hitting the fan. And they always talk about, or majority of people talk about shit hitting the fan as an event. One event's going to happen and it's going to change the lives of everybody, And, there are shit hits the fan events. Hurricane can be a shit hits the fan event. But when most people, and especially the preparedness movement organization, and I don't consider myself a prepper at all. I just follow the word, and the word tells us to make preparations. The prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. The foolish one passes on and is punished. It says that twice in Proverbs. But, a lot of people in the preparedness movement, it's about getting stuff for an event. And they're not really talking about a hurricane. They're talking about an EMP, alien invasion, Yellowstone blows, nuclear war, things that are so monstrous that nearly everybody in the country or everybody in your, region or everybody worldwide will be affected by it, especially the zombie apocalypse, especially that one. But the one thing, because I'm going to say in quotation marks, it's almost fun, prepping. It's that whole, as a David Crawford, Lights Out, if you haven't read his books, or the Patriot series by Wesley Rawls, James Wesley Rawls, John James. I bought those books and they're very good. Especially, I like Lights Out a lot. But what most people do not prepare themselves for is a system, SHTF. Everybody's preparing for an event, a one thing that changes the course of everybody all at once. But nobody really talks or prepares for a systemic shit hits the fan event. And if you look through history, outside of your hurricanes or your earthquakes, what most people talk about, EMP, nuclear war, how often have those things happened throughout the course of humanity, the course of history? A solar flare that takes out all the lights for everybody on Earth. Those things do not happen nearly as much as systems that rise up. Systems that rise up and change everything. And many times I would say that these systems even give rise to these major events that happen. But systems are the biggest enemy of people. Systems are the biggest shit hits the fan situation. You trying to tell me that the people that were doing in the time in Mao Zedong, that wasn't a shit hits the fan situation? How about, the many of the regions where there's war and fighting in these foreign countries in Africa and, I don't know, Argentina, when the dollars collapse and currencies collapse. A lot of times these are not an overnight thing. There has been signs of these things falling apart for years. But see, those sort of events aren't popular. And those sort of events, unless you see and play the long game of making sure you and your household are ready. Because see, an event is different than a system collapse. System collapse is a slow decline. It's a slow decline, meaning not everybody's going to hit rock bottom at the same time. When that comet hits, everybody's damn near in the same position. You're kind of falling into, do you have a bunker with food preps and everything, or do you not have that bunker? If a nuclear bomb, same thing. Do you have that bunker with food preps or not? But when it's a system, you can still kind of, at least for a time, a period, live a normal life. You can still go out and buy your car. You can still breathe air. There's still food in the shelves. But as the system collapses further and further, it's not there. As we're watching this system in this country collapse, you're seeing, huge groups of teenagers and And women and men run up in the stores, especially in these major cities, run up in the stores and just jack shit. Just take everything off the shelves, flash mobs, running into grocery stores, running into convenience stores, stealing the cigarettes, stealing the Black and Mild, stealing the lighters, stealing the lotto tickets. Everybody's just running on. That's part of a systemic collapse. Now, if you're in that area when it happens, let's say it gets bigger. Let's say one of these people who are looting gets shot. Oh, but they don't get shot because the cops are watching these things happen. See that slow decline? How do you prepare for people to stop caring about their neighbor? I mean, literally, the person lives next to them. How do you prepare for not being able to pay for your rent? That's not a storing up 6 months worth of food, although it can help you. But where's your rent money? Where are you going to go if you lose your place to stay? See, it's one thing if everybody loses their place to stay at the same time because, like the fire in Maui, terrible situation. But when something like that happens, okay, you kind of feel like, well, we're all in the same boat together. But what about when it's your boat that's sinking and you look across the street and their boat's still floating? What then? See, these one events that's going to set off this whole collapse worldwide versus it may just be your life that collapses. Everybody else's life may catch up to yours, but it may be yours. How many people's lives have collapsed right after the zombie plague, being COVID, ended, quote unquote, ended? How many people went and took, the stab just to have, other health issues come up? You're seeing a lot of stuff happen, and you're seeing a lot of systems collapse. And these systems that collapse give rise to a greater, stronger, more oppressive system. To me, that's the greatest shit hits the fan ever. A system that is created through whether they be real problems or fabricated problems, through whether it be false flag events or controlled demolitions or you can call it the Building 7 syndromes, whatever you want to classify it as. There are always oppressive systems, and those are more shit hits the fan than any real event has been. We're watching a collapse take place. We're watching morals fall. We're watching people take lives of innocence as if it's nothing, which is a symptom of a failing system. See, a shit hits the fan system failure is a lot different than a all-out nuclear bomb, 4 or 5 majors. And it seems that seems to be what they tend to get us to focus on the most, is the possibility of one grand event, opposed to look at the system falling apart right in front of your eyes. Look at the things that are falling apart right in front of your eyes. We ask questions like, well, how is a war between Taiwan and China and then America getting in? How's it going to affect us? Well, if you like your car and if, things that, have chips and microprocessors in them, that's going to affect you. And it may not affect you overnight. And that's the thing about systems when they fail. When systems fail, it may be a small thing that affects a majority, but not everybody. And it's not going to be a life and death situation, but people are still going to respond and react to it. Imagine your car breaks down and you go to buy a new one. Oh, you can't afford a new one because these microprocessors and chips have tripled and quadrupled in price and car values have gone up double. Imagine you can't go to get your tires at your local shop and you've got a flat tire right now. Imagine that. Imagine gas prices go up to the point where there's $5 and $6 a gallon. What are you going to do? How about this? Imagine you, because of this failing economy and system, you just simply lose your job and you can't afford to pay your mortgage. And then it affects your next door neighbor. And then it affects the person down the street. See, these things that we're looking at, I think we look at wrong sometimes. We look at an event instead of a group of smaller events, smaller things happening that affect everybody. And then where everybody will eventually get there in 4 or 5 years, but you may just get there this year and everybody else may get there next year. And then the year after that, more people are going to get there. What do you do? That's the better question. That's what I've been pondering. How do you combat a system failure? When we know that the tribe of Levi did it, you read the book of Jasher. When the children of Israel went in to build Pithom and Ramses, Levi didn't go in. Because the worst thing about systems is that systems are usually created because people ask for them. People ask for the protection of these systems. Thus, they oftentimes have the support of a large majority of the population. They ask for these systems for food. They ask for these systems for water. They ask for these systems for protection. Now, what do you do when it's a systemic thing that people around you, especially if you live in these major cities, we're going to be doing a series on this, kinda. This is going to be a new topic. But what do you do when the people in the major cities are asking for that system? And you're one of the few that say, I don't want that system. But you've waited too long, so now you can't just go and relocate because you've been playing by the rules of the people of the system. You've been playing by the rules that the people in the system have been asking for. Oh, please, more government, more protection, more this, more that. I don't care if you make lab-grown meats. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. How do you keep Yah's laws? How do you make moves in your life when you can't make moves? Is an event a one soul? And I'm not saying that there can't be a one event or one event that changes everything. There can be a nuclear war. There could be a comet that hits the Earth. There could be a massive solar flare. Those things can happen. But what we're seeing right now is we're actually seeing the shit hits the fan. We're seeing it hit the fan. And we're seeing people turn away from the fan and their faces is just coated in brown and green and I don't know, and it stinks. And you're looking at them and they haven't figured out that the crap is already on their face from hitting the fan, while they still try to figure out when the shit is going to hit the fan. I think it is very important for us to develop systems to combat this. Networks, covenants, agreements among friends, and especially following the word of Yah and getting out of these damn cities. Bless y'all. We'll be talking more about this over the upcoming weeks. May it be a blessing. Shalom.